Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Herbie goes to Monte Carlo. He starts out in Paris, and he's on a comeback tour, basically to win a race 6,000 miles from home with the help of Dean Jones and Don Knotts. So, yeah, I've watched these out of order. So we've seen Herbie Goes Bananas and Herbie Fully Loaded and Fastlane, which is technically a spiritual successor that was originally supposed to be a Herbie series involving junior high girls driving a sentient car that actually talks, but turns out they changed it to not be anything Herbie. We've watched all those so far. There are other ones, Herbie Rides Again, and also the original Love Bug, but this one is from 1977. It's about an hour and 44 minutes long, and it's a fun little adventure, of course, in the Herbie tradition. This, if you don't know what Herbie is, maybe you're new here, but Herbie obviously is a sentient car. They never say sentient car because that sounds too scientific. They never attribute it to magic or anything else. It just happens to be a car that thinks for itself, that drives itself. And he's technically, when Dean Jones, which we've seen in so many classic Disney films from the 60s and 70s, when Dean Jones tries to explain that to another driver, her name's, Diane Darcy, she, pretty redhead, who Dean Jones's character has a little bit of a thing for, but he's got to calm down because the race is important. At least according to Don Knotts, he's going to swear off women, so Dean Jones should. And Dean Jones, of course, in the thinking that Don Knotts is just a weird old man that no woman would ever want, jokes that, oh, you're making quite the sacrifice. Yeah, well, thanks. This is Mr. Furley, and also from the Andy Griffith Show. So yeah, from Three's Company and Andy Griffith Show. Yeah, it's you don't bust on Don Knotts. Don Knotts can get it. At least he could when he was alive. Anyway, they arrive in Paris in time for this race. Let me go back to the thing. He was trying to explain to the woman that Herbie is alive, and there is no possible way. He doesn't ever actually say the words that Herbie's alive. He just points to his heart and says that something vague. So it's I don't know if it's tradition to not explain why Herbie is who he is, but yeah, he can take all sorts of punishment, which of course he has existed for well over 50 years. He's an immortal stuck in a car's body and doesn't transform. He does lots of crazy stunts. But anyway, they start off in Paris. They meet. Everybody's parked up along this one area and just down from the Eiffel Tower, and it just happens to be right next to a museum where a diamond is being set up for display, and there's a lot of people who are really excited about the arrival of a diamond that they don't even see. They just see the guys walking in carrying something that might contain the diamond, but they're all like pushing. There's got to be guards keeping everybody back. It's not a boy band, so just calm yourself. It's a giant diamond worth $6 million. Yeah, but looking at it's not gonna make you rich or anything. Make you happy. I don't understand why people are excited over that. Anyway, right about the same time that the cars are all arriving and Herbie and his drivers are being mocked for looking nothing like all the really hot, sporty European cars, just look, low and fast and sleek. Herbie's a Volkswagen Bug. They're getting laughed at. The diamond is stolen in a building not far away by two weirdly bumbling criminal types, one of which I have to say is Bernard Fox. You'd recognize, if you may not recognize the name, but you recognize the actor. He's been in so many things. But yeah, he's sort of running this heist, and he's very precise with his partner, played by Roy Kinnear, Quincy. Not the character Quincy, but that's the name of his character. The two of them manage to steal the diamond, but while everybody's getting searched, they hide the diamond in Herbie's gas tank. Apparently, the gas tank is wide open with no, I don't know, filtering mechanism whatsoever. You just sort of reach inside the gas tank and drop a diamond in there. I don't know. Nobody seemed to notice it whenever they filled the tank until it needed to be heard, conveniently. These criminals are now, once the car goes off in a race, they expect to get it back when he returns. Well, Herbie doesn't necessarily like to be touched, or meddled with. And meanwhile, he's the only one he's interested in being touched by is the red-haired racer's car. Yes, Herbie's in love. You get to see a whole lot of car-on-car romance in this. Herbie does his best to get the attention of a car that we're not really sure is even, alive. But he does all this stuff. He runs away from Dean Jones and Don Knotts and heads out into the city to find the car and romance it. And other people see, like a waiter in a nearby restaurant sees what this car with no driver is doing, and he's just failing at his job as he's seeing what's happening, and he doesn't believe it's happening. If this was 2020, you might see a car with no driver moving around, and maybe that won't be too weird. It's still a little weird, but it won't be too weird at this point. But if it was looking like it was trying to romance another car, yeah, that'd still be pretty weird. Anyway, somehow the female car, we're assuming it's female because it has a female driver. I don't know, I thought we always called cars by female names also, so aren't they all female? But Herbie, I don't know. Either way, apparently these two cars, because, by the way, you wouldn't be able to have two female cars fall in love. This is still 1977. That's a little bit too racy, a little bit too taboo at this point. Anyway, these two cars run off together and enjoy a romantic drive and boat ride and everything else. And nobody else seems to think this is completely weird when they're on a boat with two cars that are just sort of sitting there, looking off into space on a Paris boat ride. Why not? Anyway, I say anyway way too much in this one. This is that's pretty much the gist of it. Of course, there's a lot of stuff that goes on and funny antics with the car. That's what makes Herbie appealing. The weird stunt driving that's done many times without the tires even touching the ground. There's special motorized cars on little moving platforms that help it do its spinning and wheelie popping stunts and doing all sorts of other. It's like the biggest animatronic for its time in a movie. So yeah, it's kind of unique in that sense. So that's pretty much lets Herbie show his personality throughout the film. It's neat. It's kind of neat to see how it works. But yeah. The romance takes up a good portion of the film, but of course, no Herbie movie would be complete without an actual race, and that is the trip to Monte Carlo. And through it all, there's villainous other drivers that they're trying to compete with who are very European, but one of their main rivals is played by a guy named Eric Braeden. If you've ever watched The Young and the Restless or soap operas, you might recognize this guy. So yeah, he's very debonair looking and very European. And he's got the sleekest looking car that becomes the biggest rival. Meanwhile, though, the red-haired woman, which I gotta say her name properly, Diane Darcy, her car is also in the race as well. So will Herbie beat her? There's a whole lot of other entanglements that happen throughout this that happen between the cars and their owners and everything else. So yeah, it's good fun for the whole family. It's adults should enjoy it, and kids especially little ones, might enjoy the goofiness that happens with the car, be entertained by that. So I think it's a good entry into the Herbie franchise. It's a good time, especially if you love these types of oldies types of movies. I hate to call a 1977 movie an oldie because Star Wars came out that same year. So yeah, and that movie's 42 years old. Yeah, 43 years old. Yeah. But yeah, if you get a chance, if you haven't seen this Herbie movie, go watch it. I can't say there's anything bad about it. Really, it's gave you a few good laughs, and Don Knotts to me is always it's a treat to have Don Knotts in a movie. So looking forward to the Apple Dumpling Gang at some point in this. It's on Disney Plus, so we'll have to see when we get that one. Until then, let's pick tomorrow's. Oh, by the way, today's one was 228, and this was also the 228th day of Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, 562. So, what are the odds of that? I gotta go play the lottery. 228 fell on day 228. Anyway, 562 is today's number. Feels that we've had this one, but we'll see. It's in the thes, I'll tell you that much. Everything from like the 550s through 700 starts with the. 562. Ooh, here we go. It's an animated classic. Maybe not on the level of some others, but there's a lot of people who really love this film. And oh my God, you're going to see, I noticed how I mentioned the Apple Dumpling Gang a second ago. It came in just above this. 562, though, is the Aristocats. Apple Dumpling Gang. If we'd done 561 or 560, we would have actually gotten the Apple Dumpling Gang with Don Knotts. But we have the Aristocats. The Aristocats at 562. Okay. You know what? I have to admit, I don't think I've ever seen the whole thing. If I have, I don't remember. You know, it's the kind of thing that would have to show up on HBO when I was a kid over and over and over again. I think I've seen parts of it, but honestly, it's going to be like a new experience for me to see this. So, the Aristocats, the movie, on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow.